Everyone, it's Michelle Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior. Today is March 27th, 2022, and I'm going to be making an anti-nano bucket from scratch, from very beginning to end. A lot of people have asked me to see all of the steps from the beginning to the end because they're unsure and unclear about what they're doing. So that's why I'm going to be doing it, and because I don't have a bucket, the 3 months that I've been out here in Texas, and not having a bucket has been actually painful. You have pain in your feet, pain in your joints, pain where you shouldn't have pain. You can feel tech moving. Some people can feel this tech moving, and it just keeps growing and developing. I should say, not growing, but it just keeps developing. And if you don't have one of these buckets, you can't disengage that technology from thinking, doing, and causing actions. I'll be putting information down in the description for people who do not know about what I'm talking about. And the videos I'm going to be putting in there are where in our American culture and our world culture, I should say, but I have it in videos in English showing how they're putting nano biotechnology in our food system and we don't know it. And then you have scientists showing diagrams and images of how this technology is actually working within our body, and we're supposed to think this is natural and okay without any negative effects. Well, there's a lot of us out there who feel this negative effect, who can see these negative effects, and one of these buckets is crucial to being able to disengage, degauge, take out the thought, the thinking processes, the operations of this technology that we got in our food system, that we got in our bodies and don't know it. I'm also going to be doing a brief intro of this in Spanish for people who want to see how this is done. They'll be able to see what's going on, because I can't do a whole video in English and a whole another one in Spanish, too time consuming. But what I can do is give an introduction in Spanish for those of you who have people in Latin America or who only speak Spanish but want to know how to build one of these and what they're for. I'm going to give a quick little intro and then the rest will be done all in English. Esta información es para mi gente latinoamericano o latinos en general que quieren saber cómo hacer una cubeta para poder quitar nanobiotecnología que está dentro del cuerpo causando un caos al cuerpo. Nanobiotecnología es tecnología tan chica que no lo podemos ver, pero lo están poniendo en el consumo cotidiano y lo están poniendo en la medicina y no lo sabemos. Esta cubeta ayuda a anular lo que va siendo la capacidad de pensar y hacer y también deshacer en el cuerpo humano. Para los que quieren saber más de los detalles, pueden poner en su computadora para cómo traducir lo que voy a explicar en inglés, pero mínimo van a ver el proceso de qué estoy usando para armarlo y cómo es el proceso en general. Espero que les pueda ayudar. Alright, so it's going to take some work. Work I don't want to put in, but I got to, you know. We got a lot of things to do, but making one of these buckets is essential. Find the time to make it happen for yourself, because your health is the only thing you got. You know, it's the only thing we got. Let's keep it strong. Let's keep it steady, because we got to be ready in these kind of times that we're living in today. So what we're going to go over is what are the tools that you need, how much it pretty much generally costs, and then we're going to start making the bucket. So in general, people want to know how much this bucket costs for all of the products that are needed to make it. It's about $100 at Home Depot. We'll go down the list. I kept the receipt right here so that you can see what comes out to $100. And then when it comes to the chargers, about $50. I'm going to be putting the information on where you can get it, what it's called, the brand, to make your life easy, how many amps it has. I got everything pretty much on the best price that I could get. So overall, it's about $150 to make this bucket in general. So now what goes on here is we're going to take a 5-gallon bucket. In this 5-gallon bucket, we're going to take duct tape. And this duct tape is going to go backwards, or with the sticky side out is what I'm trying to say. And it's going to go all around the bucket, all the way from top to bottom, or bottom to top, because I got this upside down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some copper wire. I'm going to go over what kind of copper wire I'm using, what kind of copper wire you can use, because that's always a really big question. And we'll go over that in a sec. But we're going to do, it's about a general 80 wraps around. General, meaning sometimes you don't have that much wire. That's why we start from the bottom and then work our way what will be the top, because we want to make sure when we put our feet in, we want to make sure that our feet are going where the copper wires are at. And that's why we start from the bottom. You don't want to be starting from the top and find out you only got enough wire to go right here and your feet are down here. You feel what I'm saying? So this is why we put it upside down. I get alligator clips, and the reason I get alligator clips and what is called little O-rings or little rings, so that when we connect what it is a laptop charger to these copper wires, we can alligator clip them on and off, remove this without it being stuck to the bucket. There's reasons for travel, like if I have multiple buckets in different states, I can always take just one of these laptop chargers, which is where I'm getting my power source from, to induct current through the copper wires to knock out the technology, to knock out the thinking of this technology, and because it also pulls it out of the body. You get this pulsing motion, and it actually will pull out the tech from the pores of the feet. Pores of the feet are the largest pores we have in the body, and things really do come out. I have more videos that I'll be putting a link at the end of all the videos I have about different ways I've put this together. Videos about the solution that goes on the inside, the magnets that go on the outside, magnetic belt to up the knockout, to be able to really scramble the brains, if you want to say, of this technology, is what the magnets do. It amplifies, right? Amplifies the scramble in the field. And I don't have any magnets to make that magnetic belt right now, so we're just going to focus on making the bucket. The bucket itself works well. The bucket with magnets works even better. That's what I'm trying to say. It works even better. What's next? What do I want to get next here? A lot of people ask me about, I'm going to take a little time to talk about this connection when it comes to how to connect this bucket to the wall, or how to connect this bucket to a separate battery. Now, when we do a separate battery, meaning not connecting it to the wall, meaning not connecting this to the wall, we want to use something called DC power, and that's direct current, which you'll be placing your alligator clips to that type of, to a loose battery, right? A battery station, meaning not your wall. The wall is called AC, alternating current. The reason I say it is because these come in alternating current, or they come in direct current. I've seen it. I've never bought one that's direct current, but I've seen that there are two types, so please check that out. So this alternating current, this one right here, because a lot of people get mixed up with how many amps they need, and in general, if you can get 5 amps, get 5 amps. If you don't have 5 amps, I've even worked up to 3 amps and it works. They just burn out quicker, that's all. This one right here that I got at Best Buy is actually 9.47 amps. This is the strongest one I've been able to find. And just like I said, I'm going to be putting the information down in the description so you can get one. Because I recognize that's a struggle for a lot of people. Like, where are they going to get one of these, and how much do they cost, and do they need AC or do they need DC? So I already pre-started working on this amp here, or not this amp, I'm sorry, what am I saying? On this laptop charger. And what I want to show you is the part that goes connected into the laptop is the part you're going to chop off. You're going to chop that part off. And you want to keep this part that plugs into the wall, because that's where you're going to get your power. So when we chop off, it's because I had it. I already was starting my bucket in San Diego, found out I got to switch up my game and I got to come out here to Austin, Texas. I had to cut it off of my bucket. I should have used alligator clips when I was in San Diego, but I didn't. So we're going to do that now. So I got to take all this tape off. I should have done it before I started this video, but I just realized I was missing that. I was missing that little detail. But the whole point of this, let me show you what it looks like. So this, let me show you the difference between under or a little bit above 4 amps and a little bit above 9 amps, right? So this is the difference in the amount of power that it can give. These burn out quicker. These should last longer. I just got this one. I'm going to start using it. I can't really tell you how much longer they last than these, but when it comes to just getting power and getting what you need, get what's available and make it work until you can upgrade whatever you're doing, you know, because I know a lot of us are struggling economically, so we got to do what we got to do and use what we can get our hands on. So what we're going to be doing on this one is we're going to be cutting the part that goes to the laptop to charge it, right? And when we do, we're going to find two separate strands. There we go. Hopefully you can see that, right? And you're going to want to take off the plastic. So I don't know if you can see it. I'm trying to put it up to my black shirt so you can see it better, right? And you're going to just want to take this off so that you have these two separation in strands. But what we're going to do is, so that the strands don't get mixed up, is we're going to do one at a time. We're going to get one connected to alligator clips, and then we're going to take off the plastic of the other one and connect it to the other alligator clip. Where I left off is I was showing you a small laptop charger, a little over 4 amps. We're going to be using this larger one, a little bit above 9 amps. And we're going to do the alligator clip. So remember, we're cutting off the laptop charger end that goes connected to the laptop itself. We are not cutting the end. I'm going to put it right here on my shirt so you can see it. We are not cutting the end that gets plugged into the wall. Right? So when you take off the ends, you should see this. One wire has plastic around it and the other one is loose and it does not. If they are in strands, which most of them are, you just twist up the strands so they come together like locks of hair, right? Like locks of hair. If some come off, it's no big deal. It'll still work. No, don't stress about that. A lot of times they get cut off when you're trying to take off this little plastic sheath, this little plastic coating. Not a big deal. But you don't want to cut them all off where you ain't got nothing to work with. You just you want to be cautious, you know, as you're doing it, but it'll still work. So don't stress out if some come off. So now we got it like this, right? You see that little V shape right there? What we're going to do is we're going to take one alligator clip. Now, one's red and one's black, and that might stress people out. In this case, it won't matter. It just won't matter, because we're not plugging this in to a left or right socket. We're just going to connect it to some O-rings that will be on this bucket, and I'll show you what the O-rings are when we get to when we get there. I don't even know if they're called O-rings. They're just rings, meaning where this alligator clip is going to attach, so we can get that current into this copper wiring that we're going to put on this bucket. So right now what we're going to do is grab any one, the red one or the black one. When I say red one or black one, I'm just talking about the alligator clip ends. And when you put it in, you might have a little struggle getting it in there. Just kind of like turn it, kind of like twist it in there until it gets, you can see it come out the other side. You want it to get to the other side. I don't know, you probably can't see that, but you want to see it. You want to be able to see the wires, okay? And then you get I don't have them right next to me. You get your wire crimpers, right? Wire crimpers, wire cutters. And make sure you're actually using the crimping and you're not using the cutting, because you will cut it if you don't know what you're doing. So the crimping's on the top and the cutters are on the bottom. That's usually what it is, right? And so on the, let me see where you can see it right here. On the plastic part, on this one is the black plastic part, that's where we're going to squeeze so that it grips onto this wire, right? So we're going to squeeze. Remember, a lot of y'all know this and a lot of y'all don't know this. So I'm saying it like as if you don't know it, because those are the type of people I'm catering to. People who are afraid to make this because it's too much fucking information. It really is, when you don't know nothing about it. It's hard enough to deal with the struggles that this technology does to the body. You can see my story on YouTube. It's intense. I got pictures, but I felt like I was gonna die. And if it wasn't for Tony Pantalleresco, the gentleman who makes this bucket and knows everything about this technology, I would not have made it. And what he taught, I am now teaching and putting my spin on what I was already doing before I met him, and that's making products to strengthen the body. And so it just goes hand in hand, what I learned from him and what I've already been doing. Just happened to be that it took me almost feeling like I was going to die from this technology to restore and recover on ways I never knew I could. So here we go. Got that crimps on, you know, so it means it's not going to fall off, you know. I'm trying to see where you guys can see this, right? So the alligator clip is on there, and if you don't feel it's tight enough, go for another crimp. Don't crimp too hard, too strong at the very beginning till you're 100% sure you got everything right where you want it, because sometimes you got to go back, make some corrections for whatever reason, and then you press too hard, and then to unpress it you got to press harder, and sometimes it breaks stuff, and you want to keep everything intact. So now we're going to put the other end, right? This one, in this case, is the red one, which again, doesn't matter what side it goes on. In this case, it does not. Maybe in other cases it will, but not in this one. So what I noticed is a little longer than my other one, so I'm going to fold it over a little bit. Fold it over. You see I just lost some wire right there. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. And then you give it a little twist, a little turn, and you put this Mama Jamma on. When you're putting it on and you finish putting it on, you want to make sure that your alligator clips are facing the same way. Important when it comes to making sure things are efficient and working right. I mean, yeah, you could clip it however you want, but you know, if it's opening like this, you want your other one to open the same way. So when you're clipping on, you got some aesthetics going on, some balance. All right. So meaning I have both of them facing up at me, or I would have them both facing the opposite way, but just make them the same on both sides. That's all I'm really trying to say. If you have some wire exposed, we're going to be putting something called electrical tape on it, and that electrical tape keeps any current from coming out of that space, so you won't have to worry about that getting shocked in any way. That's how we're going to crimp it down. You do want to make sure that when you do this, let me see, there we go, your wires are not sticking out where they can poke you, where you grab the alligator clip, where you're squeezing, right? So you want to make sure everything is nice and neat, not hard to do, not hard to work with is what I'm trying to say. All right. So we got that crimped down. Not crimped enough because I could move it. You do want to make sure you're crimping it enough or it doesn't move on you. All right. Should I crimp it so much that the plastic slipped off? But it still works because this is nice and tight. As long as they're both nice and tight, right? Nice and firm. All right. So again, you can see the wiring right here is a little bit underneath. I don't know if you can see that right up in here. But like I said, we're going to be putting some duct tape. Everything's going to be cohesive. Let's get that done right now just so we can finish this. So you get some electrical tape. I'm going to be putting a picture of the receipt I got at Home Depot so that you can just see how much everything cost. If for people who need that. There's some people who are really big on needing to know how much everything is. I'll put that on there for you. Be an image of it at the end. So we don't have to talk about it. Like I said I was in the beginning. I just figured I'll put a picture. Alright. So now we're going to go around and around till we see no wires. We don't want to see no wires because we don't want to touch no wires. Because there'll be current running through them and we don't want our fingertips touching it. We don't want anything touching it. We don't want our cats and our dogs touching it while this thing is on, because there will be current running through it. Alright. How do you know you got everything covered? Because it's all black. The tape is black. Makes things easy to see that it's covered, right? Now we're going to do, let me see, put it right here on my skin so you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Now we're going to do the other side. And again, this does not take a long time as far as these little details. For some people, you know, when I first started, I was all stressed out because I've been burned before, second-degree burns to my face with them exploding in my face. So everything after that just stressed me out about, you know, working with electricity or anything that can blow up on me, right? So making this bucket was very stressful, and I can understand the amount of stress it may cause to somebody, knowing that they got to make this and they got a fear attached to it, right? So what I'm trying to do is show you not to be afraid. That once we figure out how to do these little steps, 1 + 2 = 3, so we could go. That's what I'm trying to do right here. Trying to take out that fear for you. Alright, so I even got it underneath the alligator clip, so I don't even see the wire underneath where you clip. You know, I don't want to see no wires. I want them all covered. And this electrical tape is really easy to work with, really flexible. I see that a little wire on the other one that I didn't trim off, so I'm going to go back and trim it up. I'm going to do a little close-up as soon as I'm done. Oh, shit, on the camera. Excuse me. Thank goodness I didn't fall. Alright, and so now I have them separate right here, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten them up, make them nice and neat so they come a little bit more together in the ends. I just think I like things being trimmed off and looking neat and tight. I don't like sloppy in anything I do, no matter what it is. I don't like sloppy. I like things to be cohesive, you know, symmetrical, look right, feel right, balance. So here I'm talking to you about balance. These things are off-center. One's shorter, one's longer. That's so fucking funny, but it is what it is. You know, you work with what you got. Let me see, can you see that? There it is. One's longer, one's shorter. What does that mean? It means that one of my wires were longer than the other, and I didn't get that down right when I first did it. But you still got something to work with. You see that right there? Let me bring this close so you can see that. So both these ended up being kind of like on the side. The same. Alright. Now what they're going to clip to are these what I've been calling O-rings with the rings. Let me show you what they look like. And they're going to go to the end of the wires that we're going to be wiring on this bucket. And that's what it looks like. And that's what it's going to clip to. Those alligator clips are going to clip to this. There's going to be two. One on each end of the wire. I'll show you what, when we get there, how that works out. But this is pretty much what it's going to look like. Right there. Bam. You see that right there? That's what it's at the end going to look like. Alright. So now we got this, right? I hope I got all the answers or questions that you may have been thinking about answered. This is the AC unit, meaning alternating current, means going to plug into the wall. If you got a DC, it's direct current, and it means it goes to a battery, meaning no electricity from the wall. So it works different. You're going to work it different. This is not going to have this on it. You're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. Alligator clips on both sides. So you clip it to your bucket, and then you can clip it to whatever you got on your battery. You know, and so it's alligator clip one end, alligator clip the other end for direct current. We're not working with direct current. We're not working with a separate battery. We're working with current coming out of the wall. All right, what's next? What's next? Next, let me get all this stuff out the way. I think what we could talk about is this. This is another big subject that a lot of people get stuck on. No matter how many videos I do, people get stuck on this. So I'm going to do my best to explain it in a way I didn't explain it before. So when it comes to wires, this can get really tricky for people. It was tricky for me until I figured out why it was so goddamn tricky. It's tricky because they come in different sizes. You don't know which gauge to use. And then the smaller the number, the bigger the power that comes out. And a lot of people don't understand that concept when it comes to wires. Usually bigger is more, but in this case, smaller number is more. So this is where I notice a lot of confusion comes in. If it's a solid wire or if it's a strand, you know, I don't know if I showed you here. Hold up one second. And I got it here. Okay, so here we go. What I want to do is give you a something you can visualize, something you can see. So when we go to Home Depot or somewhere to go buy a roll, I do recommend just go buy a whole freaking roll. Don't try to piece speaker wires with these wires and those wires. Don't try to do that. I know people who try to do that. They can't get nowhere. They can't get this done. So just make the investment. Go cut some lawns. Do whatever it takes. But go freaking make the money you need to go buy this. This one costs about a little over 50 bucks, almost 75 bucks. And it is the loose strand, 14 strand, 14 individual strands. I'll go over the rest of the information. The ones that are solid copper wire cost more, and that's $100, about $99. So depending on your budget, you could use either or. But for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about strands, let's see if you can see that. I'm going to separate the strands. The wires, so this is a 14 strand roll I got, and this is what it's going to look like. I don't know if you can see that right there. You see that right there? They're separate. But when you bring them together, like hair, you know, like a little braid, you don't really braid it. You just kind of twist it together, right? So twist, you can get, can you see that right there? One wire, right? One wire with multiple strands. Now, when you go buy this and it's one solid wire, this is what it looks like. And I don't know, I think this is a 10 gauge. It's like a 12. I think it's 12 gauge. So this 12 gauge right here, let me see if you can see that. It's just one solid copper wire. You see that right there? And so again, for people who know this, I'm not trying to make a fool of you thinking you don't know what you're talking about. This is for people who don't know and want to know, and this is why they watch these kind of tutorials, right? This one right here, because it costs less, because of my budget, I had to get a 14 strand. I like to use solid. It's just solid. It's just one piece, and I don't have to worry about them breaking off or twisting. So I personally like to use the solid copper wire for that reason. But because of budget, I had to go 14. It's called a 14 strand. So let's see if you can see that. It's 500 feet, 14 strands. You can see that right there, right? Now, the difference that I got when I was talking to the guy at Home Depot that worked there, I was asking him, with the solid 12 gauge wire and this 14 strand copper wire, what's the difference in the gauges? I want to know, is this comparable to a 10 gauge or a 12 gauge? And he says, how about we look at it as amperage? He goes, for this 14 strand, we're talking about being able to handle 15 amps of power. And remember, our power cord is 9.47 amps. And this 14 strand can handle 15 amps. So we're in good range, right? This is good. For what we're working with, right? Now the solid copper wire wheel that I could have bought, he said that one is, which was a 12 gauge copper wire, solid copper wire, he said that can handle 20 amps, and so it can handle more amperage. It means more power can run through it, right? But because our laptop charger is only 9.47 amps, we're fine with this 15 amp capability of the 14 strands. Don't let the number 14 confuse you. 14 just means you got 14 little strands running through it. Can handle 15 amps, and this is what we're going to work with. Alright, so I am going to be unraveling this and give you an idea. I'm not going to unravel all of it. It's not what we want to do, because we got to still tape this bucket up with the duct tape where the sticky side is facing us, so that when we do wrap this copper wire, the wire sticks. Remember, the wire sticks. While I'm doing this, I'm going to be talking about Tony Pantalleresco. He is the godfather of all this information on how to remove this tech from the human body. He is a genius put on this earth to help the rest of us, honestly. He suffered a lot to learn a lot, like a lot of us. And when it comes to this technology, he's a master man. Who knows what to do. I'm grateful to that man. Here we go. So I'll be putting a link to everything he does about how to disengage this tech, what this tech is about, how this tech works, how this tech morphs, how to break this tech, how to remove it from the body, remove it from the cells, how to mineralize up the body, because this tech does not do well in a highly mineralized environment, meaning the cells. And I can back up what he says, not because he just says so. A lot of people are like, well, how does he know? He knows because he got the data and the science on it. And I just want to reconfirm that I was listening to, what he's saying is I was listening to a TED Talk about Nano Bio Technology separates the salt from seawater, because the nanotech in the minerals in the seawater push against each other like magnetism. It just repels. So if it's doing that to seawater, and we're filling up our body with dense minerals on a daily basis, which I got videos on that too, and I learned from Tony, and then I made up my own formulas. I will also be putting a link, like I said, at the end. You can see all those videos on my playlist on how to make these minerals for daily consumption. What happens is this tech can't grab a hold of the cells, so the breakdown is much less. It's not so fast, because this shit will fucking break you down. I look like walking death in 2017, 18, 19. It started building up in 17, 18, and 19. I didn't think I was gonna make it through 19. 2019 is what I'm talking about. Started recovering in 2020. Now it's 2021. And I'm fucking brand new. I'm better than I ever was before. I used to be a professional boxer way back in the day. In the started in 1999, way back in the day, and I am nothing compared. I'm so much better, stronger, faster. I mean, just all these abilities, because I supercharged my body and my cells like I didn't know I needed to. I didn't know the human body could work like this when it's fully vitaminized, detoxed on a regular basis. We're talking vitamins and minerals and nutrients. I eat for strength and power. I don't eat for pleasure. If I do want to, it's maybe once a week, but my focus is my gains in my body. One day I'll be bringing that information out to you guys, how I cook, how I eat, because it's delicious. Don't get me wrong. It's not that it has no pleasure in it. It's my focus is whatever I do make, and it's pleasurable. It needs to be doing something for me, or it's wasting my fucking time, my body, my energy. Alright, going back to this bucket. So this is how the cord looks. This is one cord, but inside that one cord, there's 14 strands. Now this is not going to be a big deal. This is going to be pretty simple. What we're going to do after we put this tape on is we're going to leave about a foot out, right? We're going to tape a foot of this wire onto the bottom of the bucket, and when we finish wrapping and get to the top of the bucket, we're going to leave another foot out. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring those two ends together, and then you're going to have it like a V shape where you have one end, two ends, and that's where these rings are going to go, so that you can clip your alligator clips. So it's one wire, two ends, clip to your alligator clips, connected to the wall. A current's going to cycle through this bucket, and a pulse is going to come out. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to feel a pull in the body, because there is. It's literally a pulse coming out. I can show you the science and the data on it. You'd have to watch some videos that I can post for you on what one copper wire, when plugged in and given some current, what it does. And it creates a pulse. It creates like a bang, and that hits the technology, shakes it up, and not only shakes it up, can knock it out. With magnets, it knocks it out for sure. Someone's getting like knocked the fuck out when we're using magnets, and when we're not using magnets and we just got the wires, it's like maybe got knocked, take them down a little bit, just enough to pull it out of the feet. But those magnets guarantee that if it didn't get pulled out of the feet, at least it got knocked the fuck out as it's cycling through the body. And then when you use a bucket again, has a chance to remove that debris. So that's the part of the magnets that cause an extra strength of effect in making sure to knock out this tech. This copper wiring is where it's pulling out of the feet. Pulling out of the feet, and some of it gets disengaged. Pulling out of the feet, but it's constant pulsating pulls, because the body's blood flow has to run from top to bottom. Eventually it goes down to the feet, and as it's going through the feet, it gets cycled out. Boom. This bucket helps to, with this copper around it, helps to push it out instead of cycling back up through the body. Pushes out debris that shouldn't be in there. Alright, so now we're going to tape up this bucket. This is some expensive duct tape, more expensive duct tape. Maybe not by much. I shouldn't have ripped off the package. Shoot. Anyways, this is I forgot what it's called. I'm gonna have to put it at the end. But anyways, it protects against any electrical shocks. I love it because no electricity will run through it. So it's not your typical duct tape. It has more of a feeling of almost like a material. Feels more material, like, yeah, I don't have it around me, or else I tell you what it's called. But you can use duct tape, don't get me wrong, you can use duct tape, but I like this one because it guarantees the electrical shock effect, nullifies it. Current can't run through it. So here I go. Let's see if you can see this. Right here, I taped the first part, right? Taped it on. But I said we're going to be using the sticky side up. We are. But what we're going to do is first tape it down like this, just this end right here, to get enough tape down so that we can then turn it around this way, right? So you can turn it around this way. Do you see that little effect right there? And then we go around like this. Always good when somebody else is here to help. Always good. But if you don't, you got to do what you can. And so I'm just going to show you how I do this. Right. And then what we're going to want to do is just go a little lower and a little lower. I got a little idea. It just came to my mind right now since I don't have somebody here. Usually I have somebody helping me. I'll take a little duct tape and tape some ends down so it doesn't move on me till I start getting a good little turn on here where it's holding itself up. It's always a little bit more work on the first round because nothing's holding it down, you know, nothing's holding it down. So you just get a little tape. Whoop, 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 whoop. Look at me. Alright. So I'm just going to tape it down. Kind of like a holding place, you know. Look at that, I already slipped. So it is good that you're seeing all this, you call it fail. You call it fail. So you know when you're doing it and you're failing, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. It's not going to be perfect. You know, it's not going to be perfect. Shit ain't easy. But it can be made easy. There we go. Taped it to the other one. Made it a little tighter. It was too loose. It was just too loose. Now when we start turning, what's going to happen is it's going to be sticking to the other side that you just put on. It won't be that difficult. You just get easier as you go down. And you spin around. Come on now. Alright. Alright. And then you just got to do this the whole bucket. You know, the whole bucket. What you do is you just go a little lip lower every time. Try to get it as straight as you can, as flat as you can. If you don't, you don't. But you try to, you know, you do your best. Because you don't want a lot of lumps and bumps. You want, what I'm noticing is it's still slipping up. Meaning it's coming up like a skirt. So, I'm going to just make this longer so that it can drop without pulling on what I already got. Put it down. I'm going to get another little piece of duct tape. Do the other side. Alright. I can just pull this off when I'm done. That's another good thing about electrical tape. It sticks, but it doesn't stick so tight where you can't get it off. comes off. It's very elasticy like. Okay, and then you just keep going around and around. Said that like if I was a country girl, round and around, those you go. But I'm not. I'm not a country girl. I do like the country, don't get me wrong, I love the country. But I'm a city girl. Here we go. So, I could be talking to you, telling you stuff, you know, while I'm doing this, because I said I was going to do the whole bucket so you can see what it takes. But what I'm going to do is turn it off, get down to the bottom, and come back when I get close to finishing off the edge. Alright, so finishing up right here. I'm coming up to the end, so started recording again. And when you finish off at the top, you just cut it right off, you know. Just cut it right off. You don't need to do anything special about it. And then we're going to go into the putting the wire on. That one gets a little more tricky, takes a lot more work. You do have to pay more attention because you want the wires to be very smooth, very straight. You don't want any gaps. Just straight up, you don't want no gaps. You want nice straight cohesion because you got electricity running through there. So you want that to be nice and neat. Not because it's dangerous, it's because you want current to run efficiently. Alright. You don't want to mess, you know, you don't want to mess. Alright, so now I'm taking off the electrical tape off the top. Let me show you what it looks like real quick, top and bottom, as soon as I get this electrical tape off. It was holding down my, I want to call it duct tape, but it's not duct tape. I'll get the name at the end. Alright, this is how it looks. So you got your bucket, right? And I'm going to be pushing this downwards to make it all neat. But this is all sticky side out. Outwards. All this is sticky, right? Alright, now we're going to go to the wires. Whee! I don't know where it's best to put this. Okay. You don't want to unravel it all at once because it'll get messy. You do want to take a foot, like we said. Take about a foot. Don't have to be exact, but what we're doing is we're leaving enough space so that at the end, we take the top and the bottom ends of this wire and bring them together, okay? So you want to have enough. So a little over a foot. Better have more on the end and cut it off, the extra, than not to have enough. Not to have enough. Alright, so all we do is tape it down. That's it. You just want to tape it down. Boom. We'll be untaping it at the end, but right now it's just to hold it like a place marker, right? Hold it in place. Now I'm going to go around and around. I'm just going to tuck in my ends right here. Not too much. I'm just trying to get it out of my way. It won't really stick. I just want to get it out of my way. Because I'm going to be wrapping this. Alright, this will get a little tricky. I want to make it where you can see what's going on, right? So, here we have like this, right? We have this end right here, tape down. Now we're going to go around like this. And we're going to try to go all the way around. What we want to do is go to the lip, right? Go down the lip. Now, I know this ain't gonna be perfect, you know, it's just not, but we want to do our best to try to make it as perfect as we can. Some people are really sloppy at what they do. If you're one of those people, get somebody else to do this for you or to help you with it, to engage you, you know, because I've seen some buckets where the wire got big old gaps in the middle, and the more circles you have, the more power you have running around. The more power you have, the more pull you have. So you don't want big gaps. That's really pretty much what I've been trying to say, but I wasn't doing a good job of doing that. So this little thing, meaning the end, that little foot I had, is bugging me. So I'm going to put it right underneath the tape. Make a little loop. Get out of my way, right? Get out of my way. Now and come around like this. And now we hit the other side of where we started. And we're going to go right underneath it. And we want to make it nice and tight as we can. We're going to take our time with this. It's not something you just want to, we're going to be all willy-nilly about it. You really want to take your time, because when you make this, it's for life. You know, it lasts forever. What won't last forever is your laptop charger, but that's why we got alligator clips to be able to just get another one and add it to it if it burns out. But this bucket right here, you want to make it right the first time. You don't want to go back and try to fix this. It's too much going on to go back and fix this. All right, now we're at the third, right? We're at the third wrap. You want to make sure it's all right under there, nice and tight. Give yourself some, what we call this? Some space. I don't know what to call this. Give some extra cord, extra wire, right? So as you're pulling, you don't have too much wire everywhere, and you're wrapping nice and slow. You can do too is tape it down. Take this little extra that you got, hold it down. What it'll do is hold those in place. You want to cut it so that you're able to get a fold over it, right? But you don't want to fold it where you can't see your line or where you're at, because you're going to go right underneath it. But this little excess that you got right here that we had going on, we can use it to hold down the first couple rows. And it becomes really helpful because it doesn't move. You know, you don't want this stuff moving on you. It's complicated enough as it is. It's not complicated. The right word is tedious. It's tedious enough. You don't want to be struggling. And so let me show you what it looks like. I don't know if you can see that. The wire, the 3 rounds I got are right up under here, and my 4th one will be right up under. I can pull this off if I want at the end, but for right now, it's just keeping everything in place. And so I said I was going to do this, you know, show you the whole video, but it's going to take some time. I'm going to come right back when I get closer towards the end, so you can see what we do with these ends, top and bottom ends, and how we clip them to the O-rings. So I got all the way up to the top. See right here, I got the bucket right set up. So from the bottom up to the top, it's about 90 rounds, give or take. For some of you out there who want to know how long each round is, because I have a couple people want to know how much they use to do one bucket. You're gonna have to do the math, but what it is 2 feet 10 inches per wrap. I got 90 wraps. I got 90 turns on this. So you do the math right there and you'll be able to figure that out. That's about 34 inches times 90 wraps, and that's how much wire I use, a copper wire I use for a 5-gallon bucket, which is 20 liters. So when you do this, you're going to see that you're doing the same move. It took me about an hour, give or take, to wrap this whole bucket up in the copper wire. I got a phone call, so that's why I kind of say give or take an hour, because I lost track right there on the timing. Well, you're going to do the same motion once you get a rhythm of pull and turn and pull and turn. That it's going to hurt. Your side's going to hurt, your neck's going to hurt, your chi-chi's going to hurt. All depends on what, you know, what part you're using to get that constant turn. I say that only so that you're ready for it, that you will get sore. But it's worth the time, you know, because it takes away all the soreness from the feet pain, the joint pain, the knee pain, that nobody can seem to figure out. Medical science can't seem to figure out where the pain comes from. People go to podiatrists and can't find out why their feet are bruised like triangles. It's because its tech is taking the shape, and that shape bruises and damages the tissue. I know a lot of people like that, and they still refuse to work with this bucket because they refuse to accept there's technology in the body, because there's technology in the food. So again, I'm going to be putting in the description where you can actually see scientists, food scientists, talking about how they put tech in our food. Going back to this tape, I was telling you that this is not duct tape. It's actually called electrician's bundling tape. That's B-U-N-D-L-I-N-G, bundling tape. And what it does is it doesn't allow electricity to run through like duct tape. But you can use duct tape. It's not a big deal. They both work. Be it that I got to the top, I'm at 90 right here, right? 90 strands. I'm gonna move this back a little bit so you can see it a little bit. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut this a foot long, like I had with the beginning. I had a foot, so we're gonna do which another 12 inches. Do another 12 inches right here at the end. Get your wire cutters. Should be a lot easier than that, but it's not. Oh, that's good. I don't got it in there really good. All right, we got that cut, right? And so when you finish off, you do want to put a little piece of tape where you end it so it doesn't begin to unravel, which I did do, but I'm going to go back and reinforce, you know. I didn't do it well enough, meaning I finished off right here. And this is just going to hold it for a time being. I'm going to come back and clean it up. I mean, I'm going to tape off the top, tape off the bottom, nice and neat. But for right now, we're going to work on getting the O-ends or the O-rings at the end of these wires. We're going to put our bucket upside down again. Right? We have where we finished on the top. We have the wire that we began wrapping from the bottom. I'm taking that piece of tape that I used to hold it down. Now I'm putting it to the side so that it doesn't unravel from where I started. Oh, I need no unraveling. I want to make sure to get this done without losing any work and effort I put in. So I'm looking for where I started. So the tape that I'm using is just a placeholder, just holding it in place for a sec. And now you see that I have the wire which I began, the wire which I ended up finishing on, and we're going to bring them together. We're going to end up taping them where it's one wire that fans off into a V shape. I don't know if you can see that, right? I'm going to flip it back upside down because now I have my ends taped, the top and bottom, where it's not going to unravel on me. That's the reason for that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the top one over where I started with the bottom one so they line up, right? So you can line up. So this is where my bottom one is. I'm going to bring the wrap of the top one over. Oh, guess what? No, I'm not, because it's going to take up all my wire. So I'm going to meet in the middle. I'm going to stop right here. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. Right? I don't know if you can see this. It's a black gray wire with my black background. So here's one, right? And I'm going to bring the other one up. What I want to do is just have them where they come together right here. I don't want the wires all over the place. So I'm going to get some tape and line them up. You see what I'm talking about. Got a little tape. I'm going to line these up together so that the top can meet the bottom. See if I can show you what I mean. I'm going to put this mamma jamma on its side. Got the wire right here. Ooh, you see that wire? And the other one with the tape lining up so that these two tapes line up right there like that. Bam, right? So now we're going to bring these guys together. Right? What I want to do is make it where they meet. One comes up to meet the other one. I don't know if you can see that. Here, let me show another angle. Sorry about that. It's not coming out like I'd like it to. I got a black shirt and I got dark gray wire, right? So I'm going to take the bottom wire and I'm going to tape it upwards. Right now it looks unattractive, but we'll get it fixed at the end. Right now it's just to hold it, like having an extra pair of hands, right? And what I did is I just taped it up so it stops moving on me till I can tape these guys together. Why do I want to tape them up together? Because I want them to look like one wire. I don't need wires all over the place. It's not essential, it's not critical, but it's how I like to do things. Things to look nice. Alright. Not just functional, but aesthetic, you know? It's got to be aesthetic. Aesthetically pleasing. So now I got little extra tape holding these guys down. Now I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can bring this up where you can see it. These guys right here now are kind of the same. I got that one piece of tape where the tape's lining them up, so that I got it like this. Now I'm going to work on putting the O's on them, taping up with electrical tape to make one wire with fans out into a V. If you want to know the size of these O rings, let me put it up right here so you can see that right there. Right? Just get a size that you're comfortable with for your alligator clip. I got the biggest ones I could find. Let me see if it has a size for you. It just says 12 to 1/4 stud. That's what it says. 12 to 1/4 stud rings. That's it. Don't say no more. When we have our wires right here, you're going to see that they got to get the plastic off so that when we connect to this O-ring, it has a good connection. You want the wire to be touching this metal tip. So we lightly strip away some of this plastic. Get somebody to do it for you if you're not comfortable. And that's just slightly cutting around the edge, you know. Don't grip all the way down because you'll cut all the way down. I've been known to do that every time, no matter how light I try to go. There's little sockets right here for that just grip it just enough and pulls it off right for you. I just realized that right now. And the reason I'm cracking up is I didn't know that was there. I've been struggling this whole goddamn time. I just saw it right now. So I'm going to go to the 12 and see what happens. Because it got 10, 12, all the way down to 22. I'm going to go to the 12. Well, maybe, yeah, 12, 14. I'm going to go to 14. And I'm going to clamp and pull and see if it works. Hope it works. Oh yeah, it's not working. So it's good that these things are happening right here where you can see. Means that not everybody gets this right and gets it perfect, you know. Alright, I ain't gonna go that route. This is for professionals. I'm not one. I'm not a professional at this. I'm a professional overcomer and survivor. That's for damn sure. See my videos on that. Hey, look at that. Nice. You can't see it, but it took it nice and clean right off. Okay, maybe I can be professional at this. Nice. Okay. So that's what it's supposed to look like when you take it off. You see that right there? There you go. So you can see that copper right there. So that nice naked copper, going to twist our 14 strands so they're all together. I'm going to put it in the hole. I don't need to tell none of y'all how to do that. I'm going to bend it over a little bit. My copper wires, because it's too long. It makes it a little thicker too as it's going in that hole. So it get a little better, holds a little better, right? Don't slip out so easy. There we go. You'll feel it. You know what I'm talking about as you're doing it. And then we use the top to crimp because the top doesn't cut. It crimps, meaning it holds down and pressure, applies pressure, but not so much where it cuts it. You do a little tug. Look at that. It came off. Right? Came off. That means I didn't do it right. Oh, I crimped the plastic and not enough of the metal within the plastic that's in the center. So I'm going to undo what I folded because that was not going to fit in the hole. Hole is crimped. I could uncrimp it, but I think I could fit it in there. So these are the little things that'll happen. Not a big freaking deal. And the reason I show all the mistakes and I try to be perfect, because, you know, learning new things, you ain't never going to be perfect at it. Shit, even when you do know things, you're still not perfect at it. Life is a learning process, you know. We just get better as we do. This is my third bucket. This is my third bucket. I got a little copper coming off of the top. What I'm going to do is just seal it up with some electrical tape, that black tape, so it's nice and clean. It's not coming off. Right there. Just wrap that around the metal, meaning that if it's a little longer, the strand, just wrap it around the little metal base. Alright. I appreciate all you guys' patience. Never thought anybody actually would want to watch a whole video. These things take a long time, right? It takes a long time to make this bucket. But I recognize that it makes people who feel insecure about doing it, makes them feel better. So when they make a mistake, they ain't worried about that only they make that mistake. No, we all make that same mistake, and it's alright. You're still going good. Keep going. Move forward. Finish this bucket. Get this bucket done. And once you get one bucket done, you ain't worried about making no more buckets. Shit, you can do it as a career. Start selling buckets, making and selling buckets. A lot of people don't want to make this bucket, but they need it. So selling it's a good idea. Making it and selling it. Here you go. So you see that right there. Beep. Nice. All right. So now before I do the other one, what I'm going to do is tape these up so that they're one I don't even know what to call it. You know, one strand. Like one cord. Try to say one cord. Shoot. I don't even know some basic terminologies I want to use for what I'm doing. You know, this stuff is not in my vocal. I'm not an electrician. Definitely get with an electrician if you're nervous about this. That's what I did. I got a hold of an electrician, had him walk me through Tony Pantalleresco's video. He kept telling me how it wasn't going to work and it wasn't going to work. And what I recognized is electricians get a different education on how electricity works, right? And this bucket is not anything or has nothing to do with what they learned in school. And so they just kept saying it's not going to work. Well, it doesn't work in the concept of why they think I'm making it. I'm not trying to light a light bulb. I'm trying to get a pulse of bam, bam, bam coming out of this copper wiring to pull something out of my body. And so electricians ain't gonna know nothing about that. Nothing, not a damn thing, right? Shit, doctors ain't even gonna know nothing about that. But you can take physics and see how that works. I'm gonna be putting a physics video on there. If for those of you who want to see where the physics is, how do you get a pull from an electrical current running through copper wires in a loop? And the more loops you put, the stronger the pull, even if it's the same amount of energy. So I love physics. I love proving everything that's being done in my life with physics and quantum physics. Alright, so I got the base done, and I'm going to go back up and wrap it around some more. And what I'm doing is just making one cohesive cord. One cohesive cord. Going back to getting an electrician. The electrician is just going to help you feel safe about what you're doing. Because when I started, I was like, oh shit, this is going to blow up in my face. I don't want nothing blowing up on me. Because I've had something blow up in my face, I feel like everything's going to blow up in my face. So once I did it once, that was it. I made a video my second time showing people how I made that anti-nano bucket, and it wasn't even full like I'm doing right now. You know, I'm doing this one from scratch, from top to bottom. And the other one was more about the magnetic belt, the mechanics of the bucket, the why, the how-to, and then I put Tony Pantalleresco's video link on the bottom so you can see how he made the bucket. But in this one, I'm making the bucket. I'm making the bucket. Alright. Get a little tape, come back down here. Alright. So you can see, you can fix it up a little bit more later. But I'm just trying to show you how I'm getting it going right now. You see that right there, right? it'll all wrap up in the end. I'm gonna tape all this up, but just giving you an idea of how this is supposed to be looking, or a general idea of how it's supposed to be looking, right? So again, I gotta take off the, I'm not gonna go so far down this time. Last time I had too much wire. Too much exposed wire. Ooh, I'm getting better. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm all proud of that. I'm proud of that. Got it all clean. Look at that. Alright. Wires are all together already. Don't really need to twist because they're already nice and solid. I am going to do what I did last time and do a little bend. Make it a little thicker on the end. You don't need to, you don't have to, but I was liking it. Alright, same as with the alligator clips, you want to line them up where you're not crimping it where it's like this. You want them both face like this so they're nice and flat surface, so when you put the alligator clip on, you're not twisting and turning. So you want to make sure that before you clip, they're both nice and flat, right? Like facing you. Or facing that way, just facing the same direction. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. Alright, now we're going to crimp. And crimping means pressing, that's all. Crimp just means press. Alright. Give it a little tug. It's good. I think I could press a little more. You can definitely press a little more. If you feel that slip, press more. Press harder. Especially if you know you're done, go ahead and give it the full press. You don't want these things falling off. I want them to stay on. Alright, I'm going to duct tape that. Finish this off with some more tape on the ends, so that the only thing sticking out are these two ends. We connect our laptop charger to it, and then I'm going to show you what the pulse looks like. So when you connect the laptop charger, what you get is a little light that stays on, and it lets you know that power's running through it, right? Well, when this adaptation is done, everything that we just went through right now, what will happen and what's supposed to happen so that you know it's actually working is that light that shows you the power is on is actually going to pulse. It's going to go bink, 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 and that's actual pulse. It's actually pulling and causing that turn off, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. And that turn on, turn off creates a push, change in the field. Again, I'm going to put a physics video so you can see physically with your eyeballs how that's done, how that works, the mechanics of that. They ain't got nothing to do with Nano Bio Technology. They ain't got nothing to do, that physics video don't got nothing to do with this bucket, but they show the wraparound coils with a charge, what happens, and then what happens the more coils you put on with the same charge, what happens. You get more punch the more wraps you have with the same amount of current. My point. Alright, now these look nice and sharp. You see that right there? I'm all proud of my work. I really am. I really, really am. I'm going to go finish this off by uniting these a little bit more. Let me see. Let me come down. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Got a black shirt on. I'll think about that next time. Like I wore a white shirt or something. If I got a black cord, I'm working with black tape, right? Makes sense. I didn't think about that factor. All right. You just wrap it up where it looks nice and clean. No matter how many wraps it takes you to make it look nice and clean. Just keep wrapping till it looks good. You know. Then you can even go one up in between the legs of this cord right here, and come back the other way, come back down. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy I'm finally getting this bucket done. I've been without this bucket for 3 months, and I'm going to tell you, that was not expected. I did not expect to go this long without the bucket. But now I know you can't be without this bucket. I feel the pain. I feel the aches. I feel the tech moving. And what's so sad is a lot of you saw my video I did in November 2021 where I jolted myself. Actually, it was November 12th, 2021. I jolted myself to burn out this tech, right? And then I was supposed to keep up with the bucket so it never built up again. Well, I got 3 months of build up where I don't know if I'm going to jolt myself again. I'm going to do some research, analysis, go inside and check with my soul and see if I'm going to be doing it again. Because I got the tech in my eye, and it's not a nervous tick. It is literally tech. You can see it lift up. It's pretty intense. And I'm hoping that doing enough of the bucket, I'm going to do it a week straight, every day for a week, 45 minutes to an hour each night, that I can knock this out. This movement throughout my eyelids. It's happening on both eyelids, top and bottom. And so if I can't knock it out with this bucket, I may have to do the jolt again. But there's no guarantee. I don't know. I gotta see. Alright, so now I'm gonna go and clean up the edges, meaning the top and the bottom, so the bucket actually looks good. If you don't have any extra duct tape, leave it as is, you know. Shoot, use Scotch tape, use whatever you got. Use whatever it takes. Make it happen. But I have extra tape. So I'm going to finish off the ends with some tape to make it look cohesive. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I show it to you. What I mean by cohesive. You know, clean edges. It's like when you get a cake, you don't want the frosting all over the place. You want the edges all nice and wiped up and looking pretty. Which is funny because when I cook, it's just like, bam, I just get it on my plate. It's going down my throat type of, you know, serving. I'm not really big on making it look pretty because I'm about to take it down. But when it comes to, like, my things, I like them to look good. It's weird. I don't know why I don't do that with my food. I think it's just because I'm trying to just get it in and get the effect. I'm not worried about looking at it because I know it's about to disappear. I want to start doing some cooking videos to show you guys how I cook for power, you know, how I cook for strength, how I cook to keep myself young, because it's real, you know. You take care of the cells will reflect on what you look like on the outside. I'm a perfect product of that. Perfect product, because when I was younger, I didn't know nothing about that. And when you're young, you know, you're supposed to look and be your best. I am looking and being my best, and I'm getting better by the day, is what I'm recognizing, because I have changed how I look at my cells and how I feed them. I don't think about feeding my stomach. I think about feeding my cells, what my cells need. Because we live in some seriously toxic times, that kind of thinking is mandatory. Not necessarily, it's fucking mandatory. Getting your kids to do it is a different story. But as long as you know what you're doing and you're teaching your children, they'll learn. They'll get it. They will get it. I say that because I got kids. I got a 12-year-old and a 16-year-old. And they love me, but they just have a really hard time following what I do. And I get that. So my cooking is going to be for families. You know, how do you get your kids to eat this? Because my kids will eat it. They do like it. But what happens is when they got the temptation of, you know, McDonald's and Sonic and all these other fast food places that their dad goes to and their family members go to, it makes it really tough for them. So what's around their environment matters. And right now, I don't have my house where it's my environment. My kids are in that environment. Right now we're sharing environments, and so my kids are living it up and just eating everything they can, but they're feeling the difference. They know the difference between toxic food and food that's going to give you some power, going to give you energy, and make you look and feel good. And they're in their teens, you know, and they're getting it. So we can't teach the youth. The youth will get it. They just need to know the contrast. They need to feel it. And so I hope to bring that out with the food I'm going to be presenting to you guys. Because it is different. Alright. But it is delicious. I say but is because when we think about different food, we think that it's not delicious. You know, it's the first thing we think. And I don't substitute for taste. I don't. My food has to be delicious or I will be sad. I'll be sad and depressed. Alright, I'm doing a lot of talking because I'm trying to get this done, right? My wraps, this tape wrap. So much easier when somebody helps you. But right now, it is what it is. I got what I got. I'm trying to make this as straight as possible. And what I'm doing is I'm taping the top cord, the last strand, so it lines up with the bottom strand, top strand with the bottom strand. You see what I mean when I finish. Alright. So that it's like this. Oh, again, here we go. See that? I don't know if you see that right there. Here we go. I don't know. Here we go. I'm doing my best. I'm not doing a good job of showing you what I mean. There you go. So it's one cord, nice and clean. So when you connect, it's simple. You know, when you connect your laptop charger, it's nice and simple. You can also run some duct tape right here if you want to. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to finish wrapping it on the top. So I have duct tape all the way around the top and all the way around the bottom. Move. Alright, so looking at the bucket, it's tape on the bottom all the way around, tape on the top where the cords ended all the way around. You have your little tail with of your cord, your top and bottom kind of together, and you have your little ends, which we're now going to connect our laptop charger to. So I'm going to do the connection right now so you can see this pulse that I'm talking to you about. Before I connect it to the wall, I always clip it first to the bucket, because what I don't want to do is have my laptop charger connected with current running through it and touch the ends that have current running in them. I don't need that problem. That's a problem. You don't want to do that. Little tip, right? Just a little tip. Alright. So you want to connect your alligator clips first. See that right there? See that? Okay. Then we connect to the wall. I know you can hear me. Oops, I just lost my lighting. I just realized that right now. It is what it is. I don't got no lighting. But let me show you this right here. Let's see if you can see that. Okay. You see that? You're going to have a little blue light. You see that little blue light? Boom. 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 That is letting you know it's pulsing and it's working right. So if you don't have a little light and you can't see that it's pulsing, what you want to do is you want to get a magnet. I'm sorry, not a magnet. I meant to say you want to get a compass. And when you bring the compass and you put it around, when you connect it, and you put it around the bucket and this laptop charger, you'll see the compass go like this. That means there's a fluctuation in the magnetic field, And that's what you want. You want a fluctuation, because what that does is it scrambles the brain of this tech. Alright, so I got my lighting back on. Ran out of space, had to make a couple adjustments. What I was saying is, this pulsing is what takes out the tech with the pull, and it also, that fluctuation in the magnetic field scrambles the brains of this tech, and it makes it no longer active. And that's what you're trying to do, is make it disengage from being able to function in the body. That's a very unnatural thing, this technology in a natural organism. I'm not down with that. I never consented to this tech being in our food, but it's causing a negative effect in the body. For those of you who are not sure what I'm talking about, I'll be posting one of my videos of where I talk about it back in 2019. And you see a lot of images and pictures of what I was actually pulling out of my body and my experience, what I went through. What goes inside this bucket now? That's important, right? Because we're going to get our feet in here, but what's in here? We're going to make an electrolyte solution. I'm going to be posting at the description what that solution is, so you get more information about different types of solution that you can make. But bottom line, what it is an electrolyte. You want your water in your cells to connect with the water that's going to be in this bucket, and the only way to do that is electrically. It has to make an electrical connection to be able to bond and pull and siphon out. So bottom line is water, vinegar as an acid, salt as a mineral, and I use sea salt. And the amounts of what I use, I recommend that you really watch the video on the solution that goes inside, because there's a lot of different ways to make it, but I try to make it the least expensive for people, because this is something that is a lifestyle. It's something to use once a week to make sure the body's constantly disengaging this tech and pulling it out for great strength, health, mobility, functionality. And for some people who are really suffering, where they could see the effect of this tech, is mandatory. You know, it's mandatory and they can't be without it. Watch the video on the solution, but pretty much it's just an electrolyte. When the feet are in there, after about 45 minutes to an hour, you get this sense of relief or a sense of pain that brings it all down to one area, and it just means you got to keep doing it for a couple more days until it's pushed out. Because I recognize a lot of people, for the first time when they use it, they say they feel pain, but it's because it's actually pulling things from the body down. I felt it where I could feel it move down my body when I first tried this. Now I know what's going on. So the tech is moving through the body, coming out the feet. I hope that this video helped people who are new to this, take away any fears about how it's built from the beginning to the end. I don't know what else to say about that. You know, that is pretty much simple, dry, and clear. My name is Michelle, Angelic, Truth and Integrity Warrior, telling you to always stay strong, be ready, be sharp. We're living in some toxic times, and we can't afford to be caught slipping. Take care.